pyramid. The second one is a conical shape, powerful geometrical shape.
And these giants make the pyramids of Giza look like miniatures.
The Great Pyramid of Giza has long been hailed as unmatched. Yet in Bosnia, an even more colossal structure has been uncovered, said to be taller than Giza and older than ancient Egypt itself.
This is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, as I later named it.
Its discovery has left scientists baffled, with many struggling to explain its origins. While some refuse to accept its authenticity, others believe it could challenge everything we thought we knew about history and humanity's earliest civilizations. Post-conflict Bosnia and the birth of a legend. The story of the Bosnian pyramids begins in Visoko, a historic town in central Bosnia and Herzegovina. The main focus is Visočica Hill, a large hill that stands out in the area. In 2005, the site became the center of a bold claim that it might be home to the world's oldest and tallest pyramid. For Bosnia, still scarred by war and struggling to rebuild its economy and sense of identity, the idea carried enormous weight. It offered hope for a unifying story that could transcend politics and place Bosnia on the global stage of history. The legend began with the arrival of Semir Osmanagic, a Bosnian-American businessman and author.
I discovered the complex of Bosnian pyramids.
Osmanagic, whose previous work included explorations of esoteric theories, such as claims that the Mayans were clockmakers of the cosmos, tasked with adjusting the Earth's frequency and harmonizing it with solar vibrations, proposed a radical hypothesis. Visočica Hill was not a natural rise, but a colossal man-made pyramid. The claim was bold, dramatic, and quickly made headlines worldwide. The claim was huge, immediately setting up a bold comparison with Egypt's famous pyramids. Supporters say the main structure, called the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, is about 220 meters tall, much higher than the Great Pyramid of Giza, which stands at 147 meters. The idea soon grew beyond Visočica Hill. 4 more pyramid-shaped hills were added to the story, named the Pyramid of the Moon, the Pyramid of Love, the Pyramid of the Earth, and the Pyramid of the Dragon. Together, believers call them the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. But building a legend takes more than stone and soil. It takes conviction, resources, and powerful allies willing to fuel the dream. Here, the story shifts from excavation to influence. The engine of belief, funding, and political support. The success of the claims is not solely rooted in geology or archaeology, but rather in a calculated socio-political and economic framework that sustained the project even in the face of overwhelming scientific rejection. Osmanagic's immediate media sensation led to significant financial backing. His foundation, the archaeological park, Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, has received hundreds of thousands in public and corporate donations. This influx of private funding demonstrated immediate public excitement and financial viability. Crucially, the claims transitioned from fringe theory to a state-supported phenomenon when the project received official backing from the Bosnian government.
The Bosnian Pyramid Valley project, which has become the most active archaeological site in the world.
This institutional validation was transformative. Excavations on the site began in 2006, directly supported by government funding. This backing provided a layer of legitimacy and authority that is essential for a large-scale project. That government endorsement became the single biggest reason the project survived, despite global consensus that the hills are natural. For Bosnia, the claims provide both a unifying national story and a lucrative tourist draw, positioning the country, at least in the public imagination, as the cradle of civilization. For a nation seeking post-conflict identity and economic stimulus, the sensational historical claim translates directly into tourism revenue, with reports indicating over 130,000 visitors in recent years. The project's political and economic importance makes it hard to shut down, keeping the digging, promotion, and money flowing. This turns the debate into more than just science versus pseudoscience. It becomes a government-backed clash of ideas. But beyond politics and profit lies an even bigger question. Could these structures belong to a civilization lost to history, one that predates our records? Contextualizing the age, a civilization beyond record. The most profound element of the Bosnian pyramid claims, and the single greatest point of contention with established history, is the alleged age of the construction. Proponents contend that the structures date back between 12,000 and 14,000 years. This timeline places the Bosnian pyramid complex squarely at the juncture between the late Paleolithic era, dominated by mobile hunter-gatherer societies, and the initial stages of the pre-pottery Neolithic period. The archaeological requirements for pyramid construction are immense. A colossal project such as the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, allegedly standing 220 meters tall,
which consists so far of 5 stone structures in the shape of the pyramid,
demands specific societal prerequisites: stable agriculture to feed a massive, non-producing labor force, highly developed hierarchical social organization to control and coordinate labor, and advanced engineering skills for quarrying, transportation, and precise assembly. These capabilities are the hallmarks of complex societies that historically emerge much later, typically well into the Neolithic period and later Bronze Age. To understand the challenge, let's look at Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey. Built around 9,500 BCE, about 11,500 years ago, it's considered the oldest known example of large human-made architecture. The site is famous for its massive stone pillars and circular structures created by advanced hunter-gatherers. Still, even with its impressive design, it's nothing like a 220-meter pyramid. For the Bosnian pyramid idea to be true, we would have to believe that a civilization existed thousands of years earlier than expected, one that could build something bigger than the pyramids of Giza, long before such skills were thought to exist in Europe or the Near East. The anthropological void and missing evidence. The bold age claim faces a big problem: the almost complete absence of traditional archaeological markers associated with such a monumental undertaking. In the Visoko Valley, archaeologists have found no worker camps, no special tools, no construction waste, and no cemeteries that would show a Paleolithic society big and organized enough to build such a structure. By comparison, at sites like Egypt's pyramids, the remains of worker settlements are considered key evidence of large-scale ancient building projects. What has been found in Visoko matches known history instead. There are traces of Neolithic activity, Iron Age settlements, and especially many remains from the Middle Ages. In fact, the hill now called the Pyramid of the Sun, Vysoka Hill, was once the site of Vysoki, an important royal fortress in the 14th century. This creates a major contradiction.
The well-known Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan looked exactly like this, covered by soil and vegetation.
How could a civilization advanced enough to build a pyramid larger than Giza's 12,000 years ago leave no trace at all, while a much simpler medieval castle on the same spot left plenty of evidence? Supporters get around this problem by saying the pyramid is so old that regular archaeology cannot explain it. By placing it outside accepted timelines, they can dismiss scientific criticism as a weakness in current knowledge. This extreme claim makes people question all of human history itself. For many, the idea that the world has been wrong all along is more exciting and persuasive than hard, repeatable scientific proof. The precision argument. Geodetic claims of intentional design. A substantial part of the argument for anthropogenic construction rests on the geometric precision of Vysoka Hill. Proponents state that high-resolution topographic surveys reveal profound symmetry and uniformity in the slope angles across all visible faces, consistently measuring around 42 to 45 degrees. The most frequently cited and sensational piece of evidence regarding intentional design is the reported geodetic orientation. Surveys have allegedly documented an incredibly precise alignment of the northern slope toward true north. This level of precision is comparable to the astronomical alignment achieved by the builders of the Great Pyramid of Giza and is argued to be far too perfect to be purely accidental. Claims have also been made that the overall structure, including the spatial coordination with the nearby Pyramid of the Moon and Pyramid of the Dragon.
Once we connect the tops of the Sun Pyramid with the Moon, go to the Dragon and go back to Sun,
adheres to sophisticated mathematical relationships, such as the use of Fibonacci spirals and golden ratio proportions, reinforcing the hypothesis of a deliberate, macro-structural design. The geometric studies suggest that these hills form equilateral and triangular geometries with internal angles close to 60 degrees. The visual evidence of material consistency also fuels the construction hypothesis. Excavations have reportedly uncovered artificially arranged large blocks composed of breccia, clay binders, and sandstone. These blocks are not merely claimed to be organized, they are alleged to be components of an ancient, superior form of concrete. Samples of this material, purportedly taken from the Pyramid of the Sun's casing, were sent to international laboratories for analysis. The resulting data, publicized by the Foundation, indicated exceptional properties. The concrete samples reportedly exhibited a compressive strength ranging from 94 to 155 megapascals. This compressive strength is touted as being 5 times stronger than modern concrete mixtures, resistant to extreme pressure, and classified as a type of highly developed, extremely rigid material that is only available today in specialized contexts. Adding to the complexity, the renowned French materials scientist Joseph Davidovits, famous for his controversial hypothesis that the Egyptian pyramid blocks were cast using geopolymer concrete, analyzed a sample from the Bosnian complex. Davidovits initially concluded, based on electron microscopic analysis, that the sample resembled ancient cemented concrete, specifically identifying a calcium/potassium-based geopolymer cement, suggesting artificial origin. This preliminary finding was immediately leveraged by proponents to support the technological superiority of the ancient builders. The geological reality, flat irons, and fractured strata. The overwhelming international geological consensus, however, paints a radically different picture, classifying Vysotschica Hill and the surrounding features as entirely natural geological formations known as flatirons. These formations are common across the globe, including examples in the western United States and in Russia, and are created through well-understood processes of tectonic activity and differential erosion. Detailed geological analysis confirms that Vysotschica Hill is composed of Miocene-clastic sediments, a mixture of layered sandstone, clay, mudstone, siltstone, and conglomerates, deposited during an ancient lake and river system. The appearance of regular blocks, slabs, and precise slope angles is entirely explained by regional tectonic forces. Tectonic stresses systematically tilted and bent these sedimentary rock layers. The resulting forces plastically deformed softer layers like clay, while the more brittle layers, such as sandstone and conglomerate, fractured along natural joint and fault planes. This natural process resulted in the formation of semi-regularly shaped pieces that mimic cut blocks, creating the illusion of man-made stepped terraces. This natural fracturing mechanism provides a non-anthropogenic explanation for both the perceived block regularity and the uniform slope angles observed. Experts later challenged the claims about the so-called superconcrete. While some layers of the material do test as very strong, Studies show it is really just a natural type of post-glacial conglomerate, common in the area.
It clearly shows the edges, the corners. This one is between the west and north.
Even Joseph Davidovits, the scientist whose early comments were widely promoted, later clarified his position. He explained that the geopolymer concrete he studied was not the same as the material covering the pyramid. Instead, he said the casing looked more like a natural pudding stone. He also warned that the way his words were used on the project's websites was inaccurate. This shows a pattern in how the pyramid's promoters handle scientific data. Instead of careful research, they highlight early, incomplete results like the strength of the stone or Davidovits's first remarks to make eye-catching claims. These are then used to draw in tourists, gain attention, and secure funding, even when the science doesn't fully back them up. Speaking of the Ravne tunnels, beneath the Visoko Valley, near the so-called pyramids, is the Ravne Tunnels system, a large underground network that has become a key part of the site. Supporters believe it is a huge man-made maze of tunnels, crossings, water pools, and big chambers built by the same ancient people who created the pyramids. Before the foundation began digging, the small entrance and short stretch of the tunnel were labeled as just a natural cave. Supporters, however, believe that the later discovery of inner dry walls built to stop loose material from spreading shows signs of planned construction. The mystery deepens with the idea that a later civilization deliberately filled the tunnels with material.
Inside we don't use oxygen, it's a very healthy energy in there.
No one knows why, but some suggest it was done to hide advanced knowledge or special energy connected to the site, which adds to the intrigue. Skeptics argue the tunnels could simply be modern excavations. The foundation has had to respond to these doubts. Supporters counter by pointing out that two different materials are found inside: the natural tunnel walls and the fill material used to block them. If the tunnels had just been dug recently, only the local conglomerate rock would be present. For them, the presence of this separate fill material proves that the tunnels already existed long ago and were later sealed on purpose. And this is evidence that the structure is ancient and man-made. The pivot to wellness tourism. As more and more geologists dismissed the idea that Vysochika Hill was a pyramid, the project shifted its focus. The Ravne tunnels began to be promoted not just as an archaeological site,
People are telling me, well, you've been working in tunnels for 9 years.
Les gens me disent, ça fait 9 ans que tu travailles dans les tunnels.
but as a place with special healing energy. Supporters now claim the tunnels were built for energetic or spiritual purposes. This change moved the project away from archaeology, which requires hard evidence and constant academic review, and turned it into a wellness tourism spot based on personal belief and experience. Thousands of visitors now come to the tunnels, many hoping for spiritual or health benefits, and they often treat the place as sacred or full of energy. The shift has also proven to be a smart business move. The dark, enclosed tunnels create the perfect atmosphere for spiritual and mystical claims, which are harder for scientists to disprove compared to arguments about geology or building materials. By leaning into wellness and energy tourism, the project keeps attracting visitors, earns steady income, and avoids the pressure of needing approval from the academic world. Moving beyond geological and material debates, Bosnian pyramid proponents invoke specialized fringe physics, casting the structure not as a static monument, but as a piece of ancient technology in action. The pyramid as an energetic machine. The main idea behind this alternative theory is that the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, BPS, is not just a pyramid-shaped hill, but an energy resonator and amplifier. In this view, it was not built as a tomb or monument, but as a kind of ancient technological device designed for energy purposes. In 2011, researchers like Slobodan Mizdrak reported measuring a steady electromagnetic signal at the top of Vysochika Hill. The signal was said to operate at a frequency of 28 kHz. Supporters claim that these readings show unusual electromagnetic activity, especially during the moon's phases, suggesting the pyramid may be aligned with celestial events. They go further, saying the pyramid gives off a highly organized energy beam made of scalar waves. This beam reportedly has evenly spaced frequency patterns, sometimes noted at 9.3 Hz apart, which they argue shows it was deliberately engineered. Some engineers, like Goran Marjanovic, suggest that the pyramid's exact shape and alignment with cosmic measurements allow it to act as a multidimensional resonator that can emit these focused energy signals. To support the idea that the Bosnian pyramid of the sun's energy is not natural, believers rely on two main arguments: probability and comparisons. They say the combination of geometric shape, exact north-south orientation, and the steady 28 kHz signal is too unlikely to have formed naturally. They also point to tests on other pyramid-like mountains, such as Mount Kailash, Mount Mayon, Mount Fuji, and the Flatirons. Unlike the BPS, these natural formations reportedly showed no constant 28.4 kHz signal or structured frequency patterns. For supporters, this proves the Bosnian pyramid is a man-made energy device. Some even ran simulations using engineering software like Ansoft Maxwell 2D to model how the pyramid might generate the signal. Scientists, however, remain deeply skeptical. The 28 kHz frequency falls into the very low frequency band, which is easily filled with man-made noise from telecommunications, military systems, or natural electrical interference. Detecting a signal doesn't prove the hill generates it. The theory also leans on scalar waves, an idea rejected by mainstream physics. By framing the pyramid as advanced technology beyond current science, supporters shield their claims from normal archaeological or geological criticism. This strategy keeps the debate alive, not by evidence that can be verified, but by suggesting skeptics lack the vision or knowledge to understand the pyramid's supposed true purpose. The hoax, the heritage, and the human need to believe. The debate over the Bosnian pyramids has long since moved beyond academic disagreement. It has led to tangible consequences for Bosnia's cultural heritage and provoked sharp condemnation from the international archaeological community. In December 2006, the European Association of Archaeologists, together with leading archaeologists and directors of major institutes across Europe, including the president of the German Archaeological Institute and directors from the Netherlands, Poland, and Bulgaria, issued a joint public statement. They condemned the project, calling it a cruel hoax on an unsuspecting public, and insisting it has no place in the world of genuine science. One of their main concerns was the misuse of resources. They argued that the money and effort being poured into the pyramid project would be far better spent protecting Bosnia and Herzegovina's real archaeological heritage. The gravest consequence of the pyramid excavations has been the destruction of genuine, well-documented heritage. Vysotseka Hill is not important because of a supposed 12,000-year-old pyramid.
You will need another 15 or 20 years to get to the pyramid.
On va avoir besoin de 10 ou 20 ans encore pour arriver jusqu'aux pyramides.
But because it was once home to the old town of Vysoki, a royal medieval fortress first recorded in 1355 and a key center of the Bosnian state. The modern town of Visoko traces its history directly back to this 14th century stronghold. In chasing the pyramid theory, Osmanagic carried out what professional archaeologists called unprofessional excavations, often using volunteer labor. These digs damaged genuine cultural layers connected to the medieval castle, and possibly even older remains from the Neolithic and Iron Age. This destruction led the academic community to urge the Bosnian government to stop funding the project and protect what was left of the site. Instead of revealing an unproven 12,000-year-old monument, the excavations erased parts of a confirmed 700-year-old landmark. At the heart of this is a clash between economics and conservation. The government backed the project because of its promise of tourism money and its appeal as a unifying national story. But by prioritizing profit and myth over science, Bosnia sacrificed real, irreplaceable history for the sake of sensational claims and pseudoscience. Despite the overwhelming refutation from geologists and the formal condemnation from archaeologists, the Bosnian Pyramid project continues to flourish. Its success is rooted not in scientific verification, but in national identity and economic strategy. The combination of official government support and high levels of tourism, drawing over 130,000 visitors annually, ensures its financial viability. For many adherents, particularly within the Bosnian population, the belief in the pyramid fulfills a deep psychological need. The narrative offers a powerful, revolutionary answer to human origins and historical significance, providing a sense of national importance, hope, feeling of belonging, a purpose in life. In this context, the project is less about proving an archaeological truth and more about sustaining a profitable narrative that provides meaning and economic prosperity, making the verifiable geological facts secondary to the compelling power of belief. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun stands today as less a mystery of the ancient world and more a warning of the modern one. Once hailed as the world's oldest and largest pyramid, it has been demonstrated by science to be a natural hill, reshaped in recent years by ambition, politics, and tourism. In the process, real history, the medieval fortress of Visoki, and traces of earlier settlements has been damaged, perhaps lost forever. When myth clashes with science and money outweighs preservation, whose version of history survives? And more importantly, what truths are we willing to sacrifice for the sake of a good story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. To enjoy more content like this, click on the next video on your screen.